Good morning and welcome. Welcome to www.imlietova.com, our Skype series. Today we have Jon Platakis with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Jon. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. It's just such a pleasure to be here, and the great work that you're doing with you and your team, and the more of us Lithuanians that are doing things to bring Lithuania to the fore, to the forefront, uh, you know, everybody's welcome.
That's exactly how I feel. At our website, everybody's welcome. But for me personally, it's a true honor to speak to you, Jon. I followed you for years. You do outstanding work. You help unite Lithuanians, propagate who we are to people who may not otherwise know. For those of us who may be unfamiliar with your work, could you share a little bit about what exactly you do in the Lithuanian community?
Well, most of my work, our work, is done through the National Lithuanian American Hall of Fame. And the way it started, I'm interested in history, especially Eastern European and Lithuanian history. And the fact that, Lithuanians, even though people like Ruta Lee, Johnny Unitas, Butkus have reached the pinnacle of their careers and garnered fame and fortune, but as an ethnic group, we are relatively uh, anonymous to the American or generally the English-speaking community throughout the world. How many of us have gone out into the street and have been asked the question, what is your nationality? And you say Lithuanian, and people go, a Litha who? You know, are you Lutheran? Are you whatever? Um, I just remember Johnny Carson maybe 20 years ago had a joke, and there was a Lithuanian involved in the joke, and the audience just went, huh? So it was time, I think, for the Hall of Fame. I thought, how can we introduce Lithuanians and our culture to the English-speaking world? And what it came to me is, well, why don't we do it through our people today? So many of us, so many of our Lithuanians, throughout the world have just contributed so much to the international community. And how many people don't know that a Johnny Unitas was Lithuanian, or Jack Benny, or the Three Stooges, or Harrison Ford, or anybody like that. So that's where we're at. And the second, I think, why reason why we exist is, Lithuanian history. Lithuanian history has been, how shall I say, borrowed and misrepresented, and whatever words I can think of. And we have 600 years of misinformation about Lietuva's history. And it's amazing to me that Lithuania's own historians don't honor Lietuva's history. And it's taking foreign historians to bring out the truth of Lithuanian history. For example, Lithuania was never a Grand Duchy. Why do we persist in calling Lietuva a Grand Duchy? Think about it just from a logical standpoint. There has never been, to my knowledge, a nation as large and as powerful as Lithuania who has ever called itself a Grand Duchy. What king were we ruled by if we were simply just Grand Dukes and what have you? And for the people who say that, well, only Mindaugas was our king, well, then why did the popes call Algirdas and Kestutis and Gediminas and Vytautas, why did they refer to them as kings, not kunigaikščiai or Grand Dukes? So those are the kinds of things that we're trying to get across to people, to some of our projects and what have you. So.
It's amazing. Thank you so much. You contribute so much to our culture, to bring out truths, to make it richer through knowledge. Really, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to hear and listen to you, and even more so to have you here on the program. If I may add, you are now not only working with the Hall of Fame, but you've become involved with the Bloodlines movie project. It's set to star movie legend Rutger Hauer, based on the award-winning novel Underground by Antana Seleka. Can you share with us how you became involved and then why you decided? What was it about the project that made you feel that you needed to be involved in it?
You know, about 3.5 years ago or so, um, I ran across an interview with Shaleka, and I don't remember who was doing the interview, and he talked about Underground. And I thought that would be a perfect project because I had met Thomas Donella, a filmmaker who is an award-winning filmmaker. He's living in Australia now. And I thought this would be a wonderful project for him to get involved. He read the book and he absolutely loved it. I think it's one of the best written books about a piece of Lithuanian history that very few people know. And I think that's why we are backing this project simply because many in the Western world are not aware of the, I want to say, the longest, bloodiest, fiercest battle for freedom in modern European history. And, you know, we don't teach communism in American schools. You know, we teach about Hitler and we teach about a person who killed maybe 10 million people, and we say nothing of a system and a person that killed over 100 million people. And I think that has to be brought out. And the second point is there are still many in Lithuania who are resistant against the partizani or the Lithuanian partisans. You know, some still refer to them as criminals, etc. And I think that's still part of some of that Soviet mentality, possibly, that's existing in Lithuania. So there have been hundreds of documentaries about this period of Lithuanian history, but there's never been a full-length feature film. And, you know, films like, you know, the other Dream Team, you know, big projects, those are the projects that leave an indelible mark in people's minds. And to me, even though it's wonderful work with all of the documentaries, but a documentary is seen and it's passed over and it's forgotten. And so when we have someone like a Rutger Hauer participating in the film, and maybe we'll be able to even attract, you know, some other film stars, as long as they're willing to work relatively inexpensively, we hope. So hopefully we will make that impression. And this project has been going on for about 3 years now. And it's, of course, you know, all movie projects have to go through all the labor, you know, before they come into fruition. So we're hoping that people will support the project, and hopefully it'll be an Academy Award-winning film when it's completed.
Can't wait. Really anxiously awaiting it. Can you share the Kickstarter information with us so that we can contribute financially to help this make this film a reality?
Yeah, the Kickstarter information, you can just go on kickstarter.com and look up our project, and it's under gosh, what is the name of the Bloodlines? Bloodlines. Bloodlines, a chilling love story of a war untold. And that's the name of the project. You can look it up. We have some, you know, wonderful prizes for contributors. So look us up. You can catch us. You can catch me on my Facebook page, on the National Lithuanian American Hall of Fame Facebook page. Our website is currently undergoing reconstruction, so that'll be online probably in the next couple of weeks, so people can reach us there. So we would just like for not just the Lithuanian community, but the international community to open up those little pocketbooks and just contribute a few dollars to make our project a reality.
And I hope that we all do. It's wonderful to verbally support and to talk about the project. That's also critically important. But financial support, without that, we can't have a project. So it's up to all of us to not only speak about this and let others know that the film is being created, but to financially help.
Absolutely. Thanks for this opportunity to talk about it. And wow, just the more publicity we get, free publicity, that's wonderful.
Awesome. I wanted to go back to the Hall of Fame briefly, really quickly. We anxiously, or at least I know more than just I, but I do wait every year to hear your announcements on who's next. Can you share, give us a sneak peek, or tell us who might be coming up? Just something so that we can start to wonder and start to get excited for your next ceremony.
Okay, I can just tell you the people that we invited. Now, whether they accept the invitation, that's another story. But we're talking about Gudrunas Ilgauskas,
Oh my
the
gosh.
former center for the Cleveland Cavaliers. We've had phone conversations, and he has indicated that he's a willing guinea pig for us. Um,
Awesome. I'm from
and
Cleveland originally, so I know all about
and
him.
of course, we have our own Chicago and worldwide icon, and that's Stanley Balzekas
Oh my
Jr.
goodness.
Okay, so he has been extended an invitation, and we're still looking at a third person. So we try to do our induction ceremonies in threes, simply because there's so many Lithuanians deserving. We were going to try to get as many of them in the Hall of Fame as possible. So
Awesome. Thank you. We're going to have two final questions that we ask every guest here at
sure.
imlietova.com. The first of the two is the food question. Food, our childhood memories, are often linked to our favorite dishes. And those of us who don't speak the language, forgot the language, we still have that common tie in our childhood favorite dishes. Can you share with us what your favorite Lithuanian food is?
Oh, that is such a tough question. Um, Between Cepelinai and Kugelis and Balandele, uh, you're asking the impossible for
If
me
you,
to tell you what my favorite is.
we love them
Uh,
all, but if there's one, like you're on an island and you can only take one food.
well, that would have to be the Breakfast of Champions, and that's Kugelis. Uh,
That's
and
great.
I make a pretty decent batch of Kugelis myself. So,
Awesome. Maybe you can share your recipe. We're going to be including recipes on our website soon too. So,
oh well, I will consider that.
okay. Thank you very much. Now the final question is, what does Lietuvybė, or what does being a Lietuvis mean to you?
I look at ourselves, being a Lietuvis, as really kind of a special club that not very many people in the world belong to. And when you consider, you know, let's take for example the Hill of Crosses. I went to Lietuva for the first time, after all these 60 plus odd years, for the very first time last summer. And one of the first places I visited was the Hill of Crosses. Now, the Hill of Crosses officially was bulldozed about 4 or 5 times, but the locals tell me that it was really bulldozed maybe 15, 20, or 30 times. And when you think about it, after all those attempts to annihilate that place, that holy place, that the people came right back and stuck those crosses right back. And these are the people that made us, made you and me. We are part of them. And that is what's so incredible about being a Lithuanian. It's those people, that history that is part of us.
It couldn't have been articulated any more beautifully. Ačiū, širdingai dėkoju. Thank you so much for the privilege of speaking with you, John.
And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I truly admire you and all of your work, and I can't wait to hear what's happening next with the project. Bloodland, the movie. Don't forget to go out there, go on Kickstarter and support this project, and also to visit your Facebook page, the Lithuanian American Hall of Fame. Ačiū labai. Thank you, John.
Good, I should. Oh, thank
Amazing.
can't understand that, because we are just regurgitating a Russian tradition. Now, what's interesting, the best book on Lithuania's medieval history is written by an Englishman, an English historian who taught at Vilnius University, S.C. Rowell. And the name of the book is Lithuania Ascending the Pagan Empire of East Central Europe. And it's a difficult read, but it's just a tremendous book. And when I read what Lithuanian historians are putting out, it's abhorring. Bumblauskas, who is the chair of the history department in Vilnius right now, okay, and the history that is approved or endorsed by the Lithuanian government is abominable. Bumblauskas sits in Poland's pocket. He has received awards from Poland. He gets stipends from Poland.
Wow.
And when asked when he described the greatest army in the then known Europe, the Lithuanian army during the time of Žalgiris, he described the soldiers as just a bunch of farmers, fighting with farm implements. And when he was asked, why are you describing, Lietuva